Hey guys, Gino and Sam back from Market Movers with episode 5.
I
I
think
should
so.
have checked that.
I think so.
With episode of Who's That Entrepreneur, we've got Akim Farag as an online coach. The name of his company is AF Coaching. I've had personal experience with Akim. He made me not fat about almost a year ago now. So Akim, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us. I want to know two things. I want to know a bit about you, and I want to know how you
Great.
started being an online coach. Let's go.
Okay, hello. How's things? So, my name's Akim Faraj. I'm from Clonmel, County Tipperary, currently based in Dubai. Obviously grew up with a massive interest in the gym, in sports, anything kind of athletic, and that was always a big interest for me. So, eventually, I found my way towards personal training. I finished college, and I finished a 3-year course in UCC. Didn't really see myself becoming a teacher, which is the first route I ended up trying to take. Just that I didn't want to go back to school again, going back to the four walls of school, whether I was a teacher or a student, you're still in that same environment. So I was just like, I'm not doing this again. I was like, I'm not stepping up in front of a class, regurgitating the same facts and all this
over and over
bullshit.
again.
So not doing it all over again. Found my way to a personal training course, and I was kind of inspired by a few people around me and seeing how well they were doing. One of my best mates, Dylan Maher, he actually finished his college degree early. He didn't end up finishing his course, and he went off and pursued personal training. And I saw how well he was getting on and the opportunities that were there for him. So I was kind of inspired by that, to be honest, to take up that route. And ever since then, it's just kind of developed towards online coaching. Obviously, because of the coronavirus and stuff, that was the main reason. So initially, I started off as an in-person trainer. So I was working in a gym in Cashel. I had 15, 20 clients that I worked with on a weekly basis, about 3 hours each client every week. So that's where I got my first experience of working with clients. Then the coronavirus hit. I wasn't left jobless. There would have been a job for me there if I had waited out the coronavirus. But I said, look, I need to do something here. I need to keep myself busy. And I saw a couple of people starting up the online coaching. I said, I'll give it a go. And to be honest, it's gone very well up to this stage,
Yeah. And
you had to work. You had to work other jobs as well as doing this until you've gotten to a point now where you think it can take you fully.
That's the thing. It wasn't a case of me taking up a second job because I was struggling or anything. It was definitely obviously in its initial stages, and I still believe that the business isn't where it can be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I took up a second job for two reasons. Number one is I didn't want to rely on the income from coaching, and even though it was going fairly well, it wasn't something that I wanted to rely on, because I know for a fact people can sign up and quit within a day, and it just wasn't like
consistent.
Was guaranteed. It wasn't guaranteed income, if that makes sense. I wasn't at that stage of my business yet where I was comfortable with the money I was making. And I just wanted a second job. I had plans, obviously, to move to Dubai and do other things in life. And I just thought, look, why not have more money? I have the time on the weekends. The way that the job actually ended up falling was I'd have 3 13-hour shifts every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So came to the weekend, I'd finish all the work that I had with the business, and I was thinking to myself, like, I'm just doing nothing on the weekend. Like, I know I could have been doing more for the business, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do in a given week where your brain just starts to melt and you need to step away. And I said, look, this is the perfect opportunity to take up a job, a full-time job. So I ended up pushing maybe some weeks I could have been working 70, 80 hours a week. And some days I could have been doing 15 or 16 hours each day. Mm-hmm. So I could be working coaching, and then I could go into the factory and do 13 hours as well. But it was a good experience, definitely. It was challenging, 100%.
Yeah, one thing I noticed with you, Akim, because obviously, if it hasn't been clear, I've known you a long time, and I started coaching with you in May last year. I think it was almost to the end of April, we started with each other a year ago, which seems mad to think about now. And I remember the first thing I said to Tim when I started up. I was like, Akim is too cheap. And you were too cheap at the time when we said, and you changed your prices.
Yeah, fact.
I don't know when. It was like a few months later. Was it September maybe, or October?
Yeah.
And one thing I've heard about in books and stuff, and I wanted to ask you about it, is so your initial change of price, you lose people.
Yeah.
So you lose customers. So they say, let's say if you're charging €50 and you move to €100, you lose 50% of your clients. You've got the same amount of money coming in with half the clients. How did you find that move? Because that was a ballsy one for you. And I remember talking to you about it. To ask people for more money, it's about knowing your worth. And when you're new, it's hard to, you're trying to build something. Yes. And that was a ballsy move for you. How did you find that? Talk people through that, because a lot of people undercut themselves at the start, and you kind of cut onto it fast.
Being honest with you, coming over to Dubai and chatting with a couple of other coaches, they're saying that I'm still undercutting myself, and I've upped my price.
You probably are, like, yeah.
I am, and I think the level of communication that I have with my clients is it's, you don't see many coaches doing that. Like, I talk to people a lot, and I don't do it just for the sake of it. Like, I enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah.
I end up seeing my clients more like friends at the end of the day than anything else. You know, I have a chat with them. It's nice to be open with them and talk about things besides health and fitness as well. You know, I don't go into it with that sole purpose, but you just make connections with people, and I think people do well if you make a connection with them. But back to your point, just for a funny fact for you, it's like when I first started off coaching, and I created, say, like a system or whatever, and I started banging out plans and setting people up with their fitness plans or whatever, I was charging like €40 per client. So I went from €40 per client, and that could be 8 weeks, that could be 12 weeks. I had no time limit, I had no duration. So it was €40 for as long as it took the client to make some sort of progress and they were happy. So I went from that €40 once off to charging them about just over €100 a month. And now it's up at about €130 a month now at the minute. So for a 12-week plan, I could be charging someone about €325. So in the space of a year, it's actually gone from €40 to €325. And you're 100% on the money when you say you do lose clients, but I feel like you lose the people who aren't in it for the right reasons. You lose people who aren't committed to it, don't value it. And what I found is that the people who join up now, they take it a lot more seriously and they value the service a lot more because the price is higher.
100%.
And in comparison to what some coaches are charging, there's actually there's a guy he's like a coach's coach. So he coaches like fitness coaches how to be better coaches. He charges like €2,000 a month. And the first thing I thought when I heard that was like, he must be good. Like, you know, if he's charging that much money, like he must be very good, you know. And it wasn't me being like, he's expensive. That was a thought as well. But the other thought was that he must be unbelievable at what he does, you know. So that's the way I see it now. And as I said, you lose the people who won't value it. You lose the people who aren't going to take it seriously. And to be honest, I'd rather not work with those people anyway. Not because I don't want to, or I don't think they're going to take it seriously. It's because I don't want to take people's money just for the sake of it. I want somebody to get value from what they're doing with me. And if that means that they don't want to sign up, fair enough. They're saving everybody money, time, everything, you know. So I'd rather not take someone on if they're not going to take it seriously at the end of the day, you know.
And what have you found, from coaching people in person to doing it online? Like, what do you say, like the main differences or challenges or struggles that you found transitioning
there's
from that?
A lot of pros and cons. So I think the biggest pros, I suppose, are in my field, I'd say, because for me, the biggest advantages are for me is because I can work when I want to work. Like if I need to make a plan for somebody, or I need to sort something out for someone, or do a call or whatever, I can make my own routine around that. Now I still had a fairly flexible lifestyle or whatever when I was doing it in person, but I feel like it's more so now because I'm not going by gym times. I'm not going by what time someone finishes work. Like the PT in person was either morning or evening. There was very little work during the middle of the day. So you kind of find yourself just kind of roaming around the gym or whatever, just kind of cleaning or whatever. You're not really doing what you're there to do, you know. You're not training people in the middle of the day. So you're it's not a waste of time, but it's time that you could have spent doing something else, if that makes sense. You're just kind of hanging around. So that's the biggest advantage, is that I can create a routine that suits me. And I actually enjoy it more that way then, because I'm not like stuck between these two lines where I have to work at a certain time. I can work when I want to work. So then I actually end up doing a better job.
But does that come with the con of that, like you're in a situation where then you can't switch off and that you're always available and you're always working, compared to where you had a structured set, I will be working at these hours and that's it. But now you're like, around the clock at any time,
Yeah.
especially moving to Dubai, and most of your clients are obviously in Ireland. You're going to run into a lot of different time issues. Like, so
big thing, and I say it all the time. It's like, if you didn't enjoy it somewhat, like, this is probably the first job that I've ever done that I haven't been like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to and be like, I love my job, you know, I love what I do, and be all kind of fake about it, you know. There's days when I wake up and I see all the messages on my phone. I'm like, how am I going to get through all of these, like, you know? But
yeah.
I enjoy it because when I see somebody doing well, that just takes away any that feeling, you know, any kind of feeling where you're looking at a message saying, I can't get back to this person, I'm so tired or whatever. It is kind of mentally draining at the same time, being honest with you. It is a tough job, and it is around the clock. I suppose it is a con. You could put it into that category, but I wouldn't see that as like a big con, like, or anything. It's not a big disadvantage. Because at the end of the day, if I do want to switch off, I can just pick up the phone, put it down, and leave it. But I suppose when you're so invested in somebody else's goals and you want somebody to do well, or if you want your business to do well and if you want to make money, you're going to have to be on your phone, you know. So that's the kind of the paradox of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it definitely feels, say, more like less work when you're working for yourself. More rewarding and more fulfilling, like, than.
I can switch off if I want to switch off. Like, for instance, the last 3 or 4 hours now, I've had messages coming in and I haven't answered them because I was off having a meal with somebody, you know, and I would be on my phone, answer an urgent message. But if it's not an urgent message, like, I will delay the response if I have to, you know. But I do generally get back to people fairly quick. I don't think I leave it more than a day, to be honest, more than 6-7 hours for a response. I wouldn't leave it go over a day, like, you know. It's just, I'd rather just quick.
Yeah.
Continue.
Just going to follow on from that, then it's just something I've noticed recently. Do you find, because obviously your job is primarily on your phone, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but my phone every week tells me about my screen, because I'm doing screen time of like 9 hours some days on my phone. And it's just, I know it's Caffe Pompeii stuff and it's market move. It's mainly Caffe Pompeii stuff because, like, you're trying to post and do shit all day. But, like, and you're looking at 9 hours on your phone and like nearly sick. So, do you look at it, or do you just ignore it?
Well, I get a notification every Monday at 9:20 in the morning, and it tells me what my screen time was and if it's gone up or down in the space of a week, like the average, you know. And my screen time on average most weeks is about 9 hours, same as yourself. And that's going from my phone. Like, I'm working on my laptop as well, sometimes simultaneously. So, but I could be on my laptop side for my phone. But it's communicating with clients, like some of that's WhatsApp, then some of it's doing like social media stuff. So it's just the perils, I suppose, of running an online business. It's you can't run a good business if you're not putting in the hours, like, you know, if you're not on your phone or whatever, doing what needs to be done. And that's another thing, like Sam said, to bring it back to the point of not being able to switch off. It definitely fries your brain being on your phone for that long every day. So you have to dedicate certain periods of the day to just go out and clear your head. So, like, every morning, I won't wake up. I'll try not to, but most mornings I won't wake up and go on my phone straight away and start texting. What I'll do is I'll leave my phone down for about half an hour. I'll wake up, have some water, go out for like a 30-minute walk. Over here, it's lovely actually in the sunshine. Just go out for 30 minutes in the sun, just kind of meditate in the sun, bask in the sun, and then come in and answer a few messages on the phone, if that makes sense. So it's important to give yourself little stop gaps in between, like, you know, where you're just not constantly on your phone, because I won't do as good of a job if I feel like I'm on my phone all day, and then a message comes in and I'm just really erratic and I'm like, I can't. My mood could go up and down. I could see a message come in and just be like, you know, and then another day I could be like, you know, so I have to like manage it, you know. I have to be able to, because I can't have like a volatile personality when I'm dealing with people, you know. So I have to keep like a baseline level of communication where I'm not too erratic, or I don't have like blunt responses or anything like that, you know. If you ask some of my clients, they'll probably tell you there's probably some sort of pattern, I'd say, that develops. They can see days when I'm heavy into work and days when I'm not, you know. But you have to manage it, you know. You have to give your brain a break. I remember there was one day I had my phone and I had my AirPods in and I was on my laptop, and my brain was just like zzz. I was like, oh my god, like how like right, couldn't sleep. I woke up the next morning, I was moody the whole day. And it's just because your brain is in hyperdrive, so you have to be able to manage that properly. I think that's a big part of running an online business, is being able to manage those things and giving yourself a break when you need it,
Yeah. And then talk to us a little bit about Dubai then, because a lot of people who watch this stuff, like our best videos, generally speaking, are travel videos, rental videos, moving away videos. We haven't actually touched on Dubai, nor have we had anyone on. We've had Marbella, we've done Australia, Canada, Bali. So talk a little bit about Dubai. Just tell us like the cost of some stuff, flights, whatever. Just a few things that have stood out to you. You haven't been there too long. What are you, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
My signal is okay on your. You can hear me okay.
Yeah. You're perfect. Yeah, Gino, you're a bit shaky, but Akim's fine.
Gino, you're shaking things up here.
Yeah.
I thought my wife. The funny thing about Dubai, so as with anywhere, I suppose it's all down to location. I think, to be honest, it's completely relative in terms of what location you're in. So, like the first questions that people ask me when I come over to Dubai is like, "Is it expensive?" It's like, no, it's not like how you're getting on. It's more like, "Is it expensive?" That's the first thing that people say. They just have this idea in their head that you're just going to be literally bleeding money when you come over here, like that you're just going to hemorrhage money straight away when you get off the plane. Like, but
I think you're probably going to have to answer the question: is it expensive, Akim?
Get to the question. As I said, so rent, we'll have to break it down into different things here, because there's certain things that are expensive, there's certain things that are not. So rent is expensive depending on your location. So for example, my location is fairly pricey. It's right in the middle of Dubai, like it's a touristy area. So rent is going to be more expensive. There's a lot of Europeans living here. And then you go to the outskirts of the city, you could get like a studio apartment for like the same price as my room, say. So you could get a whole apartment for the price of my room here if you travel like 20 minutes outside of the centre, if that makes sense.
Are the outskirts shit? Or what, like in the nicest way possible? Are they dull, or what were they?
There is places like that, but there's little satellite towns and stuff, like little areas that have their own kind of like shops and malls and supermarkets and stuff. So it depends on which one of those that you go to. So there's one that's about 20 minutes here from Jumeirah Village Circle. And I was looking at apartments there today, and I could get a studio apartment there in a nice place for the same price as my room here, if that makes sense. So a room here is the same price as an apartment somewhere else. So it is pricey here, yeah. In terms of like everyday items, like your weekly shop, like I buy my weekly shop for €50, same as home, like, and I eat a lot of food, like, I'm training all the time, I have to eat a lot, same price as home. It's just the touristy areas, like you'll pay more money for drinks, and if you're eating out and stuff like that, you're definitely going to pay a big price for food and stuff. But it's actually not that much more, to answer your question. No, it's not that expensive. Not what people think it is anyway.
Like if you can get a studio on the outskirts, like for €650 equivalent, like for like even in like say the outskirts of Cork City, like you could be paying up to like €950 for a studio apartment, which is like the size of your room right now. Look,
that's the funny thing, and I think it's supply and demand, because this place is just growing all the time, so there's so much availability. There's places popping up all over the shop, and I think coming into the summertime over here as well, it's a lot cheaper actually, because people tend to go home if they're staying over here in Dubai during the year. When the hot season comes, they all go home because it's so hot over here. It can get up to like 45 degrees, 50 degrees at times. People just leave, and then the price of everything goes down. So if you're planning on going to Dubai, a great time to come, obviously, if you can withstand the heat, is the summertime. If you want to stay here for a couple of months and save yourself a bit of cash. And then October, September time, the prices will shoot back up again, basically. Everything will get more,
And say, like, what would you say is like, say, your top two, say, challenges that you've experienced since you've gone there, just over the last 2 weeks? Like, what are two things that say stand out to you that this could potentially be an issue, or I've had to change something, or something you didn't expect?
I think it was just the change of routine, really, to be honest, because I was used to the two jobs at home, and just the change of environment as well. Like I wasn't really prepared for what to expect, to be honest, because I hadn't, on a personal level, I hadn't actually been this far from home. This is my first time away from Europe as well, and this is the longest and the farthest I've ever been from home. So that was going to be a bit of a challenge. But after about 2 or 3 weeks, once I settled into a routine and kept myself busy, I kind of got over that, to be honest. And then the other challenge was the money that I worked hard to make and the money that I saved up with coaching and stuff like that, it was just being able to manage that properly. Because I just had been saving for so long, my outgoings weren't as much. Whereas now I have a higher outgoing, say, compared to where it was. It was hard to manage that and being able to say budget and this is how much I'm going to spend, because like since I've come over, I could have spent, I'd say I spent the guts about €3,500 in space of like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, like, you know, just
holiday for a while kind of sort of thing when you initially get there.
Think you're going to spend a lot of money in the first few weeks, and I was like, no, I won't. I was like, I'm just going to spend €50 a week on shopping. And then I got over here, then there's like so many different things to do. But now it's kind of settling down a bit. I've done, say, like the jet ski, and I've done dune buggies. I've done the touristy things. So now I can kind of slow it down a small bit and just kind of gather myself, I suppose. So it was just money expenditure. It's easy to fall into the trap over here of living this like on the fly life where you buy your food out or you're passing a shop and you start picking up things in the shop. Like you just kind of have to sit yourself down and make a plan and a budget, if that makes sense. So being smart with your money in Dubai is quite a hard thing to do. A lot of people come over here and they just spend everything, like, it's not quick. So I nearly fell into that trap. I saved myself close enough towards the end, to be honest.
Yeah, and you're lucky enough because you have like the likes of John over there with you, who's been living there for over a year now, probably, has he?
Yeah, so a lot of the challenges probably that I would have faced, I didn't have to face, because as John was saying to me as well, like he came over here by himself. He came over here, he didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, didn't literally have a routine or anything like that. So he came over here in the dark completely. So I was lucky in that sense that a lot of the challenges that he would have faced, like miles beyond what I'd ever be looking at coming over here. Like I had a nice comfy apartment to come over to. I was shown around by some of the lads, you know, I got my bearings of the area, you know, stay away from this place, go to this place, you'll save money here, you won't save money there. So I think having someone over here is a massive advantage before you come. Obviously, it would be a great learning experience as well, coming over by yourself and just throwing yourself into the deep end as with anywhere, like, because you're only going to learn and develop by doing those things. But as I said, like, I could bypass what he done, what it took him a year to do. I basically have that right already at my feet. That makes sense. So yeah, I didn't face that many challenges, I suppose. Really, it's just moving away from home and money expenditure, being smarter with my budget, and being able to manage things a bit better in that regard.
Is it a bit of a culture shock by any means, or?
That's the other thing. Not really. The biggest thing I noticed was there's a lot of foreign workers here. So everywhere you go, like every single taxi driver is from Pakistan. I'm not being racist, by the way. Every single person you see, like, working or anybody working in a restaurant, or the maids, they're either Filipino, Pakistani, or Indian. There's very few people here from the United Arab Emirates in the center of Dubai. They actually live on the outskirts. They actually don't come into the center of the city at all. Like, you might come in once in a blue moon just to do some like shopping or go to some of the malls or whatever. But the traditional people of this area don't live in the areas that the Europeans live in, etc.
Yeah.
Have their own satellite towns and stuff. They just stay away from it completely. So there wasn't a culture shock. People think it's going to be this, like my sister was texting me and she was like, don't be kissing girls on the street over there. And don't be holding hands with people and stuff, or you'll be put in prison. And I was like, I didn't see
Dubai is okay. As far as I know, Dubai doesn't really follow them rules. Like, yeah,
Abu Dhabi's meant to be a different story, because that's more traditional, and you wouldn't see people walking around over there with like very little clothes on them and stuff. But if you take a walk outside my building here, you go down the marina, like, you'll see people walking around in shorts, and, you know, women will be bearing a lot of skin, like, you know, compared to a lot of Arab places. So no, there wasn't much of a culture shock, but just seeing how many like foreign workers were here and having chats with them and stuff, and the quality of life that they have over here, it's such a contrast to what, say, the Europeans have in Dubai. Like, they're down there, and like when a European like myself comes to Dubai, like, we're up here, like, you know, in terms of,
I heard that, all right.
That's it was kind of sad, really, to be honest. I don't know, like, should I feel sad or what? I don't know, but seeing that side of things as well is it's a bit kind of disheartening.
Yeah, they're kind of a lot of like migrant workers, like for construction and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they basically built the city, and they basically keep the city. They're the backbone of the city. but they're the least paid people in Dubai, which is the funny thing. Like, because without them, the whole place would topple. But at the same time, I said to them, I was like, would you not like set up trade unions or something and fight for your rights or whatever? And they're like, no, sir. They're like, if I lose my job, they're just going to get someone else in to replace me straight away who would only be happy to be making the money that I'm making, like, you know. So
yeah,
there's more than enough labor, and they're paying them very low amounts. Like, for example, a taxi driver, I was chatting to him, he said his taxi makes 20,000 dirhams a month. He gets paid 3,000 dirhams of that earning or whatever, and then it could be like another 2,000 or 3,000 goes on the expenses of the car or whatever. So they are underpaid, but back home they make decent money, like sending money back to their stuff as well. So that was the only shock for me, really. I hadn't seen that type of life culture before, where there were so many foreign workers in one place, like working and basically being the backbone of a city like this. You know, I'd never seen that in my life. So that was the biggest kind of shock. Like, you know, you walk out, there's literally foreign people everywhere, you know, everywhere. So
the one thing I wanted to talk to, because I wanted to bring it back a bit to business and your side of things, because I think one opportunity that you have now that you're away in Dubai, because you obviously have pretty amazing gyms and all that kind of stuff, is you're going to be able to up your content, your Instagram content. Because I think, and this isn't a dig at you, I think you lack it massively. And the problem is you've got the personality for it.
Yeah.
You're obviously fucking jacked. You're going to the gym anyway, and you're a gas cup. You know what I mean? So, do you have a plan to up your content? Because like I look at like the Alima, or what's that guy's name? Yeah, and Darren and James and all them, and like they're constantly doing stuff.
Even people like, you know, people that we know as well that are coaches are well on the reels on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. I've been thinking about that, and obviously I do have a plan, but I think what's happened is, between my own training and working with clients and taking on new people, I think my time management could be better. So in terms of, like, say, setting a client up, I could definitely make that a quicker process, but I tend to get bogged down and setting, say, one single client up could take me 2.5 hours, and then I just kind of take my time with it. Whereas I need to get a bit more, I need to do that a bit quicker, if that makes sense. Not rush it, not do anyone a half-assed job, but definitely streamline the service from setting somebody up to having them started and working on a plan or whatever. So that's one aspect, or that's one reason why I haven't. And then the other is, I've had this conversation with Tim Brennan before, and I was just thinking, like, I should be making content now, and I should be practicing at making content. But at the same time, I feel like I could have the personality for it, but I feel like people still won't listen to me or take me seriously because I'm still only 25 and I haven't had the experience yet, if that makes sense. You're shaking your head now.
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't think so either. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, because
like I listen to you when you tell me stuff, like.
Okay, fair enough. But
I know you're an idiot, and I still listen to you. But people listen to us on this as well. Like when we say, like, I get loads of people telling us that they saw, and what we're talking about is far less like in depth to what you know. Like your knowledge is vast. You're funny. Yeah. You clearly works, and now you've got these amazing gyms over in Dubai that you can record in. Like I think you'd like the real reaches on reels on Instagram is insane. Like we're doing them for Caffe Pompeii. We're getting 10,000 views on some reels in minutes that you can be doing, and like you're a good-looking man as well. Like you'll attract a bit of attention.
Yeah, I feel like I've just been putting it off, and I don't have any one reason why I've been doing it, but there's a few different reasons why. And I just feel like I'm still in the very early stages of coaching and my journey with like coaching and stuff like that. I still feel like I have a lot to learn. I know should be making content and just practicing talking on the camera and stuff, and
because you're good at it. Like you've been good this whole podcast stuff.
Yeah, people would enjoy it, but at the same time I'm just telling myself, like, it's not a case that like I don't want to do it now. It's just like I know I still have a load of time to do it, if that makes sense. And I don't want to become like, because sometimes when I'm flicking through Instagram, I'm looking at people, I'm like, I'm just sick of looking at the same face all the time, you know, that way. And I know people will get sick of that too. Like there's a couple of coaches I won't name, not even from Clonmel or anything like that, but I follow a few of them. It's just like, not his face again, like not this fella again. I just flick, like, you know, I'm like, I don't even want to look at it. I'm not even reading his post, but maybe that's just his character, his personality isn't grabbing people's attention. That could be it as well, you know. but in my head, I've just been like, I have time to do it. I have a plan to do it. And there's still a couple other things I need to get going, say, and the actual service. So I've been very service orientated, where I like the clients that come to me, I'm not struggling to get clients. I'm not struggling to get leads or anything like that. Like, I have enough people coming to me. I rarely ask people to join up as it is, and I still get people joining up for coaching or whatever. Like, they'll just fill out the form on my coaching page, and I'll message them or whatever and get them started up. So I haven't actually been putting up posts saying like, oh, I have coaching spots available or anything like that.
I've never seen you really post that like that.
If I can just do a good enough job, people will talk about it. Like,
word of mouth.
They'll tell their family and stuff. Yeah, now I should be pushing it more, and I will start pushing it more. And I suppose that's the other peril of working another job where I had two incomes and I didn't have to push it as much. Whereas now I'm in Dubai the last 3 weeks. I have the time to push it. Yeah. So I will push it. I will start making more of an effort to bring some new people in and share my content and stuff. But at the same time, I feel like I would be able to do it myself, but maybe I just need someone to kind of talk to about it and structure it properly, if that makes sense, and what kind of content I put out, what kind of route I'm going to take. You know, I don't want to just be putting out the same information all the time. So I definitely need to put a face to the business, 100%. I definitely need to put my face out there more. People know it's me that they're going to be dealing with, you know, because even on my Instagram page now, it's all just information. It's all like informative information, but people will get sick of that as well eventually, like, you know. But to answer your question, I still feel like I have time to do that, if that makes sense, you know. So I'm not in a rush. I don't want to peak like too early or anything and just get sick of this job. Like, I still feel like I'm like slowly on an upward trajectory, if that makes sense, and I have time to do that stuff.
Well, at least you're thinking about it, because that was basically my question, is if it was in your plans or not, and it is, obviously. So that's good. Yeah,
I'm going off on serious tangents here now, aren't I?
Not really.
No, you're all right.
Yeah, so like, we're coming into like the last like 4 minutes or so there. So like, I just say kind of finish it up. Like, what is like your 6 month target for your business? Like, what is your plans like just for the next 6 months? Like, kind of very briefly.
Right now, it's to obviously there's a few different things I want to start. So I want to get a website going in the next 6 months, and on the website, it'll be a static website to begin with. So we'll just have information about the business and what I offer. Basically like an information pack that I send out to people at the minute. So I want to have a website that I can link people to. And on the website as well, I want to be able to sell like once-off gym plans, recipe books, maybe like a couple of like stringers and t-shirts and stuff with my logo on it and stuff like that. You know, just have like a passive income taken over from the website that I don't actually have to say put time into. No. So if I make 5 to 10 gym plans and I can just sell them and people can pay money for them or whatever, like cheap price. Yeah. No, I don't have to think about that. I don't have to like type one up or like goals into consideration. They can just go onto the website and start buying the plans. So that's one thing. The other thing is actually making more of a social media presence. And I feel like I hadn't had the time to do it. The business is running the last year, but 6 months of the last year, I've had a second job. So I was just mainly focused on bringing my clients to where they needed to get to. And then I was kind of just biding my time until I got the chance to start focusing on social media. YouTube is definitely what I want. I want to get onto YouTube and do like how-to videos of like exercises, like 1 minute long exercise videos, being like, this is how you do this, blah, 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 and just give people a better insight into how to train properly and stuff.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it is a really good idea.
Because you can do the YouTube shorts and they push them like crazy as well.
And use those clips for Instagram reels as well. You know, this is how you do bench press and go through the technique or whatever. So that is on the cards. It's definitely something I've been thinking about. Now I have the time to actually sit down and put all that together. So that's another thing. Make more of a social media presence. Have more of a passive income from the service. And what was the other one? Streamline the service as well. So make the service make setting up a client and getting somebody started with the service quicker, make that process quicker and more efficient and effective, if that makes sense. So those are the three kind of things that I'll be focusing on for the next 6 months to a year, to be honest, you know. But looking at how far I've come from last January to now, or whatever, last July even to now, like it's just skyrocketed, like from what I'm on and stuff like that. So now that I have more time, I can definitely focus on those things 100%.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
So,
sounds good.
Akim, we'll finish it up there because we don't want to run out of time like the last
No
time we did
problem.
one of these and we got cut out. So, if you want to just say like your Instagrams or Facebooks or where people can get you, and if there's any information you want to put out there, you've got a minute and 30 seconds to do it.
Great. So if you want to sign up for AF coaching, you can follow and message me on my personal page or my coaching page. So my personal page is AH_KEEM. That's on Instagram. And my coaching page then is _AF_coaching. That's my Instagram business page. So just hit me a message if you want to start with coaching or anything like that. There's a form that you can fill out on my Instagram page, and I'll get back to you then with some more information, and we'll set up a call and get the ball rolling, whatever, discuss your goals and figure out what you want to achieve with the plans or whatever. But that's basically it. No more information to give.
Perfect.
Not yet.
And we'll link everything in the description anyway. So we'll have all Akim's Instagrams and all that in the description.
Nice.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Akim.
you, everyone.
Nice.
Like,
That was
subscribe.
Yeah, like
all
and
the fun
subscribe,
stuff.
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks very much, Akim.
Thanks,
and
Akim.
we'll see you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
That's great chatting with you. Bye-bye.